Hello and welcome back to the NUFC Opinion Blog for another fan feature interview. Today, I'm joined by another one of the True Faith writers, James Lynch. James, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, Dan. How are you, mate?
I'm absolutely fine, mate. So let's kick things off. James, as we currently speak, Newcastle sit, I think it's 2 points above the relegation zone. Obviously, we just had the international break and we faced Tottenham on Sunday. It's been a poor season, to say the least. How would you summarise it?
Well, disaster. Simple fact. It's been an absolute shambles from start to finish, really. I mean, look, we had some decent performances and decent results at the very start of the season. I would say we were lucky in several games, to be honest with you. I think we managed to get the 12th before Christmas, before the wheels fell off, and the Sheffield United game, the Brentford debacle. There were some encouraging performances. I thought the West Ham game, start of the season, we played very well, and we deserved to win that game. But to be honest with you, apart from that, I can't remember many games where I thought, you know what, we've deserved this. I mean, possibly the Burnley game, home game. But if you look at the Spurs game, the away game, we got a point there, and extremely lucky there with that last-minute penalty. And Darlow was absolutely superb that day. But look at the Wolves game, the point we had there, we were lucky. I thought we were lucky to beat Everton at home. But really, since December, since late December, kind of Christmas time, it's gotten horrific, really. I called for Bruce to go after the Sheffield United defeat.
As did I.
I think a lot of people did, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, he's still in the job now. 3-4 months later. You worry, you really do worry. In my opinion, it's the worst it's ever been in my 26 years supporting the team.
In my 20, it's never been this bad as far as I'm concerned as well.
It's a massive worry, Dan, and I genuinely can't see where the next win's going to come from. I mean, I know some people might say, look at the positive side. Look, we've got players coming back from injury, Wilson, Maxim and Almiron. But I even think, even with a fully fit team, I just can't see where the next win's going to come from. I mean, the confidence of the team right now is just at an all-time low. Dressing room unrest, problems behind the scenes, which, let's be fair, we might not even know about. I mean, we know about the Matt Ritchie situation, yeah, but there's bound to be several other incidents that have probably happened that we aren't privy to. But no, I'm genuinely terrified about the future of this club, and I only see one way, and that's Championship football next season.
I mean, it showed yesterday with the sort of reports that Dwight Gale might be signing a 3-year contract. That screams planning for the Championship as far as I'm concerned. Is that how you took it as well?
100%. I mean, I was baffled he actually signed, to be honest with you. I thought he might be wanting to leave because of the game time he's had this season, which has been absolutely zero, to be honest with you. I think he started possibly...
He started 2 games, I think. He started 2 games.
And one of them was because of injuries. So it wasn't like he was picked on merit. But look, he did a great job for us in the Championship season the last time we went down. I mean, I remember the Leeds away game went down
brilliant that day.
Ellen Road, and he was fantastic that day. And but yeah, I'm not sure if he's the player he was then. I mean, he's a player that thrives on confidence, he keeps getting picked. And to me right now, he doesn't look like a player who's very happy to be at the club. To be fair, not many players do look happy at the minute, but you're right. Look, it screams planning for the Championship.
Yeah. Now on Easter Sunday, we take on Tottenham at St James's Park. How do you see that one going? I mean, I'm going to guess not well from what you've said so far.
No, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. Simple as that.
Yeah.
We have to win that game. They're a much better team than us. Harry Kane. Son probably back for that game. Moura, Bale. They've got quality all over the pitch. And look, they've had a tough season. I've got a good friend of mine who's a Tottenham fan, and he's miserable at the moment. He hates Mourinho, doesn't want him there. Like a lot of the fans, Mourinho has taken Spurs backwards. Let's be fair, he hasn't taken them forwards. Granted, he's got them to a final, a League Cup final against Man City. However, things aren't all right at Spurs. Arguably at any other time of the season, I would have looked at this game and thought, could win this game. But right now, after that Brighton performance, I just can't see how we're going to beat Spurs. But it's a must-win game. And to be fair, the last 4 or 5 have been must-win games. And it is, again, I'm going to say it's a must-win game, but we won't win. Simple as that, we won't win this game.
And so if we do go down sort of the way you're predicting, What comes next for Newcastle? What happens next?
Well, it's a scary thought, isn't it? It's a massive overhaul needed. To be honest with you, you would hope to think that we would potentially have a new owner. You would think Mike Ashley would just cut his losses and sell. Obviously he wouldn't get the money he wanted, which is 350 million if we're to believe. But the only hope of any positivity for me about this football club is with a new owner. It's a simple fact.
If it happens, of course.
If it happens, look, I'm sure. Look, he's not.
One day we will have a different owner. One day.
One day we will, but you're right. It could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, and that is a terrifying prospect to think that this guy could still be here in 10 years' time. When I'm in my 40s, it's a terrifying prospect. But I certainly think with going down to the Championship, we ain't going to come straight back up again.
It's not what I've said as well. I've said exactly the same. Yeah.
Mike's not going to strike 3 times. I talked about this on the Writer's Block, an episode I did recently. It's impossible with the squad that we've got, and based on the fact that you would think our better players like one of the goalkeepers, Maximin, Wilson, they would leave. They're not going to stay in the Championship. I think, we'd probably be there for 2 or 3 seasons, and God forbid it couldn't get that bad. We could do with Sunderland. I don't think it would get that bad that we would go down to League One, but I certainly think that we were probably in the Championship for at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Making things a bit more positive now, because we've had our healthy dose of negativity there. Can you think about what might have been your earliest memory of supporting Newcastle United?
Oh, it was nothing but joy, pleasure, happiness, positivity, excitement. I attended my first game in 1994. Again, I talked about this on the Writer's Block recently. That was my first season. It was a 94-95 season. Been badgering my dad to get us a season ticket for several months before that, and it was the year where the Leazes End got expanded, and there was tickets became available, and we managed to get 2 tickets, me and my dad at the time, but we were sat where the away fans sit now, very, very kind of top of that stand. It was in the gods. It was virtually on the very, very back row. It was so far back, but it didn't matter. The view wasn't great because the atmosphere was just incredible. Like going to see players like Beardsley, Andy Cole, Rob Lee, Stevie Watson, Pavel Srnicek, Lee Clark. It was just brilliant times. We won every game, like that first season that I attended, 94-95, we went unbeaten for the first, I think it was 11 games. I think we won 8 of those. But I remember Andy Cole. I mean, what a player he was, like the goals he scored. The first game that I remember being at was the Chelsea game, the 4-2. I think it was at the second or third home game of the season, but Andy Cole scored a brace that day. First goal, it was like a rocket from just outside the box, and Rob Lee got a goal and Rule Fox got a goal. But I mean, we weren't great defensively that season, but it didn't matter because we would just score so many goals. We would score 4 or 5 goals against most teams, and it's just terrific memories that season. And and then of course after that, it was the entertainers era.
It was.
We signed Ginola, we signed Ferdinand. Andy Cole got sold to Man United, but we then managed to get, of course, Shearer straight after.
Keith Gillespie went the other way, of course, when Andy Cole went.
Keith Gillespie went the other way. Very underrated. I always thought he was a top player for us, Gillespie. But it was just amazing times, and just nothing like what it is now. Just the hell of what we go through now.
Now, you mentioned a lot of star players there, so a lot of massive names. Is there any one in particular you idolise, or maybe a couple that you idolised growing up?
Yeah, my favourite player growing up was David Ginola. He had everything about what I loved in a footballer: flair, confidence, ability. He was the best winger I've ever seen, and to be honest with you, I think he'd get in any Premier League team today. He'd walk into Man City's team now. He was that good. Just an incredible footballer, but he had aggression as well. Like, he wasn't one of these players that some pundits labelled him as a bit of a diver. It was rubbish, absolute rubbish. He wasn't. He was physically, he was strong. He made mockeries of fullbacks, and he was just incredible. The goal he scored against Man United in the 5-0. Everyone remembers the Philippe Albert goal, the last goal, but I personally think the best goal that day was Ginola's. From outside the box, he took it past Gary Neville, bang, right foot was his weaker foot, top corner. Not many players scored against Schmeichel from that distance. And look, the Albert goal was brilliant, but that goal Ginola scored against Man United will always live long in my memory.
I mean, I think there was a moment in that game as well when Ginola skipped past Gary Neville as he slid in at full throttle, and he just, as if he just wasn't there, just sort of skipped past me. It's a brilliant moment. We've had your earliest memory, we've had your best or your favourite player, I should say. Do you have a best memory supporting Newcastle?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd probably say the Man United 5-0 game, which I mentioned. That was incredible. I remember so much about that day. It was October 96. It was a Sunday. We were the only game on that day. And when we won that game, we went 5 points clear of Man United. And I remember my dad turned to me after the game and said, "Son, you're watching the team that's going to win the league this season." And I, ironically was right, because Man United won the league that season.
He wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong. But it was an incredible moment then. It was just that was the best we'd ever been, ever in my years of watching this club. That team, it was the perfect team. You had Shearer, Ferdinand, Ginola, you had Rob Lee, you had Beardsley, you had Batty, a good back four with Albert, Watson, and then obviously Pav. And then on the bench, you had Gillespie and Asprilla. That was the best Newcastle team I've ever seen in my lifetime. And we should have won the league that season. But that moment, certainly. But I will also mention another moment as well, which really stands out for me, a more recent moment, was the Sunderland 5-1 game on Halloween of 2000.
Halloween, yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget that day and the celebrations after. I mean, it was like a 3-day celebration. I was still at uni then. And incredible memories, the Nolan hat-trick, the shoulder brace. Carroll was unbelievable that day, even though he didn't score. Gutierrez was class. Tiote was class that day. But, see Titus Bramwell get sent off. Icing on the cake, wasn't it? But I would like to mention another game as well, which really does stick out for my third and final one, was Bobby Robson's first home game.
Sheffield Wednesday, 8-0.
Sheffield Wednesday, 8-0. And Shearer had going through a bit of a difficult spell at the time. And he scored 5 goals that day. And it was unbelievable. That was probably Shearer's most clinical game I've ever seen him play. He was, people might talk about the 4-3, the Leicester hat-trick, but I think that Wednesday riot, it was just it was amazing, because it was Bobby's first home game as well.
It certainly was. Now, to sum things up, of course, we mentioned that Newcastle are in a poor state of affairs at the moment for a variety of reasons. Looking ahead to the future, what would you like the future at Newcastle United to look like?
Well, look, as I mentioned again before, you desperately want to see a new owner, and you cling to that hope of new ownership more than anything. Of course, look, everyone would love a new manager like a Rafa Benitez style, but we all know that Mike Ashley, when he's still there, he's not going to go back to a Rafa type manager. It's going to be another Bruce, and the next manager he gets in after Bruce, it'll just be a carbon copy. It'll be a clone of him. So you can only hope that with new ownership that, look, we don't have these delusions of grandeur. We don't expect to be winning trophies, expect to be, Champions League football every season. It would be great to have that with, Saudi ownership, PIF ownership, whatever. But realistically, all I want to see is just a team that plays attractive football, a team that plays good, decent football. I'm not expecting us to be, winning, as I say, trophies and what have you, but just to see a team that gives everything of the shirt, and just a team that connects with the fans, and a club that connects with the fans. Because right now we've got an owner who's arguably the worst in never mind the Premier League, top 4 divisions of English football. He's got no connectivity with the fans. He's not interested. He doesn't give a monkeys about us. And as a fan, it's just painful to watch your club and know that realistically you can't do much about it. But look, we all hope and pray that this when this new ownership does happen, it will be beneficial to all parties, and then hopefully that'll be a new era and a new positive era of football for Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, just to have a team that's progressing. That's what I'd love to say. I mean, I've grown up completely in the Mike Ashley era. I'm only 20, so when he came in 2007, I'm 6 years old. So it's pretty much my whole life supporting Newcastle as far as I'm concerned, which it's not brilliant, but we persevere. James, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
That wraps things up, and we'll see you all again soon. So thank you all very much for watching, and how are the lads?